Alright, you guys, in this video we are going to look at factoring a difference of squares. This way of factoring I think is probably the easiest one to factor. So in order to factor a difference of squares, you just have to identify that this is the method you should use. So let's jump in. Make sure you have paper out for notes, make sure you're taking all the notes that I'm writing down, and then you're trying the 3 problems at the end. Alright, so factoring a difference of squares. Notice this is the general form up here. It's a squared minus b squared. So we see there's 2 terms, both of them are squares, and there's a minus sign in between. So step 1, factor out the greatest common factor if possible. That's always your first step. So looking at our first problem, m squared minus 4, we see that there is no GCF other than 1. So let's go on to step 2. Identify as a binomial with a minus sign. So a binomial, that's 2 terms, 1, 2, with a minus sign. Here's our minus sign. Alright, step 3. Identify square root of each term. So we need to ask ourselves, what's the square root of m squared? What's the square root of 4? Well, the square root of m squared is m, and the square root of 4 is 2. Alright, step 4. Set up parentheses. We're always going to have 2 sets of parentheses for a difference of squares. One will be a plus in between, and one will be a minus in between. Step 5 is to write our factors. So our first term was m squared, and the square root was m. So our first term in each is going to be m, the square root of our first term. Our second term was 4, so our second term is going to be the square root of that, which was 2. So 2 and 2. So this is our answer here. And we just box it up. Alright, so let's look at the next problem, number 2, following the same steps. So step 1, factor out the GCF. In problem 2, we do have a GCF. We can divide both of these by 2, so 2 is going to come out, and left over is going to be k squared minus 9. Step 2, identify as a binomial with a minus sign. So we have 2 terms, there's a minus sign in between. Step 3, identify the square root of each term. So we're asking ourselves, what's the square root of our first term? What's the square root of our second term? The square root of k squared is k, and the square root of 9 is 3. Step 4, set up our parentheses. So we know that we have our 2, that's our GCF. We'll set up our first set of parentheses with a plus, and our second set of parentheses with a minus. Now it doesn't matter which one goes first, if you put a minus and then a plus, or a plus and then a minus. And our last step, write our factors. So the square root of our first term was k, so that goes first, and the square root of our second term was 3, so that's our second term of each parenthesis. So our answer is 2 times the quantity of k plus 3 times the quantity of k minus 3. Alright, last problem, number 3. Step 1, factor out the GCF. There's no GCF. Step 2, identify as a binomial with a minus sign. We have 1, 2 terms, and it's a minus sign. If there wasn't a minus sign, then we would not be able to factor this way. We would not be able to use this method. It's a difference of squares. So it has to be 2 terms, they have to be perfect squares, and there has to be a minus sign. Identify the square root of each term. Square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of a squared is a. Set up parentheses, so 2 sets. Again, it doesn't matter if the minus is in the front or the plus, as long as one's a plus and one's a minus. And step 5, write our factors. So our first term was 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. Our second term was a, and the square root of a is a. So here are our factors. Alright, you guys, so that's it for difference of squares. There's 3 you-try problems on this next slide. Alright, so here they are. You try. Factor a difference of squares. Make sure you have these steps down, and make sure you try problems 4, 5, and 6. Thanks. See you in class tomorrow.